University of Education Winneba, under the auspices of its Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Jobson Mutual, presents UEW Public Lecture Series with the theme Empowering Minds, Shaping Futures for 21st Century Education. Main speaker, renowned Pan-Africanist Professor P.L.O. Lumumba. Other dignitaries include Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idriso, the country rep of UNESCO, Edmond Mukaila, and Dr. Samuel Krantempempem, happening at the Jofus Adamwa Mensa Auditorium at the University of Education Winneba on Friday, 11th April 2025, 10 a.m. We humbly invite all stakeholders, including students, lecturers, researchers, policymakers, to be part of the UEW Public Lecture Series. This promises to be insightful, educative, and thought-provoking. You need to be there.
Hello everyone, greetings from the University of Education, Winneba. Our annual public lecture for the year is slated for 11th April 2025. The theme for this year's public lecture is Empowering Minds, Shaping Futures for 21st Century Education. The essence of education in the 21st century is to instill in students creativity, problem-solving skills, good communication skills, teamwork ability, and so on and so forth. For this reason, we have invited Professor P.L.O. Lumumba to speak on the topic. We therefore invite all our stakeholders, including our students, our lecturers, researchers, policymakers, to join us to make this occasion a success. Thank you very much.
Should we? Okay. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Uewabs Business League right here at the studios of Radio Indebe 98.3 FM. And today is the first, we have two contests for the day, and this is the first contest, and we have our Quizmaster, Mr. Samuel Gajo, ready for us, and of course our two teams, Synergy and White Belt, ready to give us a thrilling contest. And I'm sure wherever you're watching us from or listening, you wouldn't want to miss that. And don't forget, we are live on Facebook, Radio Indebe 98.3 FM. My name is Nana Manyako, and we would move on to you, sir. Good afternoon. How are you doing? I'm okay. Yourself?
Doing very well.
So what's up for today?
Today we have two interesting contests. So far we've done 7 contests. We are expecting to complete the 8th and 9th one today. Hopefully by the end of today's contest, we would at least know the first 2 that have qualified for the finals. Then tomorrow we'll kind of have with the last contest. So today promises to be interesting as always. The tempo is going up. Today is interesting because there is a team that has never won. They are hoping to win so that they make their first 3 points, and there is a team that is also on fire after their first lost. So we want to see what happens between a combined effort of synergy and that of white belt as well today.
Okay, we all heard from Doctor, so let's stay tuned and find out what they have for us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and viewers of Radio B 98.3 FM. Welcome to the Uewabs Busness League Challenge. Today's contest promises to be interesting. This is the 7th contest of the 8th contest actually of the 10 contest series. We've done 7. We have 3 more to go before the final rounds. Today's contest is between white belt and synergy. I'll call on contestants from white belt to introduce themselves to us.
I'm in Albert, BBR County level 300.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
What are anticipations for today's contest?
We are just hoping for the best.
They are hoping for the best. Okay, synergy is represented by
Obed Danson, BBR County level 300.
Earlier, BSc Account Education level 400.
Gentlemen, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Are you winning your first contest today?
Sir, we hope so.
They hope so. Let's see whether they will win the contest. Today's contest is organized, ladies and gentlemen, it's organized in 6 rounds. Round 1 is the theory, round 2 is the practical or calculation question, round 3 is the business case of the day, round 4 is the true or false segment, and the Radio Windy Bay news segment. Round 5 is the true or false, and the seat round is the radios segment. Each of the teams will have 6 questions each for the various rounds. The program is proudly brought to you by Radio UDB 98.3 FM with technical support from all the departments from the School of Business. Without wasting my time, we will move on to round 1. So round 1 is theoretical questions. They are given 10 seconds to give us an answer, and they have 2 attempts only. If they don't get it, it goes on to the next team for a bonus of 1 point. But the second team will get it under 5 seconds. So I will start with white belt. White belt, your major question. The process of reviewing the data stored by website servers in the form of log files, which record every request made to the site, is known as. The process of reviewing the data stored by a website server in the form of log files, which record every request made to the site, is known as.
Data retrieval.
No, please. So you've been billed out bonus to synergy.
So we have client server.
It's not client server, it's log file analysis. Log file analysis. Synergy. The method of gathering metrics that uses an invisible image to detect when a page has been successfully loaded, and then uses the JavaScript to send information about the page and the visitor back to the remote server, is known as. The method of gathering metrics is that uses an invisible image to detect when a page has been successfully loaded, and then uses JavaScript to send information about the page and the visitor back to the remote server, is known as.
Data retrieval.
It's not data retrieval.
It's data web page analysis.
No, please. You've been brought out bonus to white belt.
Say it is post.
It's what?
Post.
No. You are out. It's page tagging. Page tagging. Page tagging. Now, this is a common preamble. Starting with white belt, this is a common preamble. Now, IFRS S1 details conceptual foundation that should be applied when preparing sustainable disclosures. I'm going to mention the issue, and you are to tell me the sustainability disclosure required. IFRS S1 details conceptual foundations that should be applied when preparing sustainable disclosures. I'm going to mention the issues, and you have to tell me the sustainability disclosures required. So yours is fair presentation and materiality, white belt. Fair presentation and materiality.
So, with the IFRS S1 deals with the general requirements for presentation of sustainable related issues. So with the fair presentation, it shows that a company should disclose its assets that gives a fair presentation, and also talks about sustainability issues that maybe the company has engaged in. And with the materiality, if let's say the company engage in corporate social responsibility, it should include it if that thing can be reliably measured.
Okay, so I'll give you 1 out of 3. So synergy, yours is reporting entity and value chain. Reporting entity and value chain.
So for the reporting entity, its sustainability is to disclose all the necessary information that affects the environment, or all the necessary information to communicate to the environment. And then for its disclosure is where it will disclose relevant information that affects the environment as well. And then and what? And then the value chain. The value chain should also take into consideration analysis of the components on the value chain that add value to the value chain.
Yeah, okay, so I'll also give you 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3. Okay. White belt. The next set of questions. White belt. Explain the term tagging in relation to business communication and mention 3 purposes of tagging. Explain the term tagging in relation to business communication and mention 3 purposes of tagging.
Tagging in communication refers to when the speaker speaks to a specific audience. So you tag a specific audience that you are delivering your message to, and its purpose in communication, it helps you to communicate to your targeted audience, so you're able to deliver to your targeted audience. And also it helps to see whether you're able to achieve your aim, so whether your targeted audience were able to get what you are trying to communicate to them. And also it helps to reduce communicating to a large group of people, so you are speaking to a specific person.
I'll give you 2 out of 3. Now, Synergy, you are to explain the term pen name in relation to business communication and mention its relevance. Explain the term pen name in relation to business communication and mention its relevance.
So the pen name as used in communication is a method of communication where the communicator issues a communication to the various components or departments of the organization, and then also to direct specific employees of the organization and its board members. And then its relevance is to help improve effective collaboration, and then it also build the effective relationship in organization.
No, I will not give this one to you. You have been bailed out, or you are still on the floor. Okay.
Okay, so pending, this is where the speaker outlines certain key features that might be needed.
I will not give it to you. Bonus to white belt.
So pen name, this is where an author or an artist use a specific name so that they will be addressed with on stage. Let's say maybe when they are on stage, they don't want to use their original name, so they use their pen name and they are being notified by that name. And its purpose is that one, it helps the author to be able to build brand for itself. So with your pen name, if you have a good pen, you're able to get brand image, build a good brand image for yourself. And it helps to promote the author. So through the pen name, the author can
I'll give it to you. It's correct. It's okay. It's correct. Now your major question. I'm now starting this time around from you, Synergy. Synergy, you are to explain the use of preliminary analytical review as a planning tool in audit. Explain the use of preliminary analytical review as a planning tool in an audit.
Okay, so the preliminary analytical review, this is where the auditor engages in certain action that will enable him to be able to select the type of firm that he should audit or like he should venture into it. So they are the initial thing that the auditor does before he enters into any audit engagement.
So preliminary analytical review is a form of review that is done prior to the actual analytical review, where the auditor assesses or analyzes the activities of the organization that is coming to actually review to help the auditor perform quality work.
So I'll give you 2 out of 3. So yes, it is used at the planning stage of an audit, okay, to help the auditor obtain understanding of the financial circumstances of the client. Okay, so your major question, white belt. International Standard on Auditing 530, audit sampling, states the objective of the auditor when using audit sampling. Okay, and is to provide a reasonable basis for the auditor to draw conclusion about the population from which the sample is selected. In relation to the above statement, explain the difference between statistical sampling and non-statistical sampling as used in auditing. The difference between statistical sampling and non-statistical sampling.
So with the statistical sampling, this is where the auditor uses probability in selecting samples. But with the non-statistical sampling, it's non-probability related, so it doesn't base on probability.
That is correct. Now, Synergy, your major question. Although, as a general rule, the law does not require any formality that is writing to render a contract valid or enforceable. It requires that certain contracts must be in writing. You are to mention 3 of these contracts that must be in writing. Although, as a general rule, the law does not require any formality that is writing to render a contract valid or enforceable. It requires that certain contracts must be in writing. Identify any 3 of these contracts that should be in writing.
So, one, we can have a contract to undertake a contractual activities where the organization is contracted to other third parties to come and perform a particular task of the organization. We can also have a contract, legal contract. We also have a we can also talk about a contract by deed.
Okay, so you talked about legal contracts, contract by deed, and what the first one?
The contracts where an organization is contracting other third party to come and perform.
So I'll give you 1 out of 3. So contract by deed, transfer of shares, transfer of intellectual property. So you had a contract by deed, correct? White belt. The terms in a contract may be expressly stated or implied. You are to identify 3 ways in which terms may be implied in a contract. Terms of a contract may be expressly stated or implied. You are to identify 3 ways in which terms may be implied in a contract.
So we have 1 by the conduct or the action of the agent, by the conduct or the action of the principal. Then 2, when the agent and the principal already have an established relationship where the principal has already given him authority to enter into transactions on his behalf. So even though it's not explicitly stated, it can be implied by the action of the principal, by the conduct of the principal, and by performance.
I'll give you 2 out of 3. So it's by court, the custom of trade. That is what you are saying have they been doing by the parties themselves. So I'll give you 2 out of 3. Now your major question, synergy. Packaging is more than just your product's pretty face, right? Your package design may affect everything from the breakage rate in shipment to whether stores will be willing to stock the product. You are to explain 3 factors that should be taken into consideration when designing the package of a product. Mention 3 factors that should be taken into consideration when designing the package of a product.
Okay, so 1, in designing a package of a product, you have to check its usability, that is easy to use. And then in designing package for a product, you have to check the attractiveness, how it is able to attract customers and other stuff.
And then we can also talk about easy to identify. That is to easily identify by consumers.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you the 3 points. Now you are to mention, many organizations assume that a brand is simply logo or the company's name, right? But that is not the case. It goes far beyond that. You have to mention 3 factors to consider when creating a brand of a company. 3 factors to consider when creating the brand of the company.
So 1, you have to look at the cost involved. Then also we can talk about competition. Then we can talk about the customer needs or customer preference.
You said the cost, what?
Competition in the market. Then you can talk about the customer preference or customer needs.
You get 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. And ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of round 1. My contestants, today is Sunday and you feel slow on stage. Are the questions bullying you? Synergy.
So actually, the question is they are cool. So we are keeping.
You're also cool to it.
So cool.
The questions are cool and they are approaching the question by a cool attitude. White belt, are the questions cool?
Yes, the questions are actually cool, but we've made some 1 or 2 mistakes. We are hoping to do better.
Okay, they are hoping to do better. Maybe they will do better in round 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Uewabs Business League. We just finished round 1 of the first contest. At the end of round 1, the scores are as follows. So at the end of round 1, Synergy had 7 points and White Belt had 11 points. So there is a 4-point gap difference. Synergy had 7 points and White Belt had 11 points. So let's go to round 2. Round 2, you are asked a practical question. You are free to use your calculators. You have 20 seconds to provide us an answer, right? If you get it wrong, it goes to the next team for 10 seconds. I'll start this round with Synergy. Synergy, your major question. Praise has a market value of 150 million cedis, whilst James Ofori has a market value of 350 million cedis. James has estimated that if it combines its resources with Praise, there will be an incremental revenue and cost will be 70 million cedis and 30 million cedis per annum forever, respectively. Based on the above projection, James Ofori makes a cash offer of 205 million cedis for the entire value of Praise. James Ofori's cost of capital is 20%. You are required to estimate the gain from this transaction, the cost of the transaction, and the net present value of the transaction. Praise has a market value of 150 million cedis, whilst James Ofori has a market value of 350 million cedis. James Ofori has estimated that if it combines its resources with Praise, incremental revenue and cost will be 70 million cedis and 30 million cedis per annum forever. Based on the above projection, James makes a cash offer of 205 million cedis for the entire value of praise. James Ofori's cost of capital is 20%. You are required to estimate the gain from this transaction, the cost of this transaction, the net present value of this transaction.
So the cost of James Way is 50, and then the gain.
The cost is 50 million, and the gain is what?
The gain is 150.
Okay.
So the gain is 400 million.
Okay.
And then the cost is what?
The cost is the cost is what?
50.
50. You didn't get any of them correct. Bonus to white belt.
The gain is 200 million. The cost is 55 million, and the net present value is 145 million.
That is correct. So your major question: Felicity has a market value of 150 million cedis, whilst Agbowada has a market value of 350 million cedis. Agbowada has estimated that if it combines its resources with Felicity, incremental revenue or cost will be 70 million cedis and 30 million cedis per annum forever. On the basis of the above projection, Agbowada makes a cash offer of 320 million cedis for the entire value of Felicity. Agbowada's cost of capital is 25%. You are to estimate the gain from this transaction, the cost of the transaction, and the net present value of this transaction. Felicity has a market value of 150 million cedis, whilst Agbowada has a market value of 350 million cedis. Agbowada has estimated that if it combines resources with Felicity, incremental revenue and cost will be 70 million cedis and 30 million cedis per annum forever. On the basis of the above projection, Agbowada makes a share offer for 320 million cedis for the entire value of Felicity. Agbowada's cost of capital is 25%. You are required to estimate the gain from this transaction, the cost of this transaction, and net present value of this transaction.
So the gain is 160 million. The cost of the transaction is 170 million, and the NPV will be negative 10 million.
No.
The gain is 160 million, and the cost will be 170 million.
And what? And the last one?
Will be 10 million.
Okay, that is correct. Now your major question. Synergy. Marcus Limited has a tangible asset of 48 million cedis. No, 48,000 cedis. Earnings of 16,000 cedis. Hajia Limited wants to take over Marcus Limited and considers that a fair value of this type of industry is 30%, and decided to value Marcus using goodwill at 4 years purchase of super profit. You are to estimate the value of Marcus Limited. Marcus Limited has a net tangible asset of 48,000 cedis, earnings of 16,000 cedis. Hajia Limited wants to take over Marcus Limited and considers a fair return of this type of industry to be 30%, and decided to value it using a goodwill of 4 years. You are of super profit. You are to estimate the value of Marcus Limited.
So we have 2,400.
No.
The answer is 89092.8.
I can give you that one as well. Bonus to white belt.
54,400.
That is correct. 54,400 is correct. White belt, your major question. Ezekiel Limited expects a return of 25% on all investments. The finance director estimates that an average of 60,000 cedis is expected as profit on the business operations. The total non-current assets are 900 million cedis, 900,000 cedis, with a current asset and total liability as 700,000 cedis. And sorry, let me read it again. Ezekiel Limited expects a return of 25% on all investments. The finance director estimates that an average of 60,000 cedis is expected on the profit of the business operations. The total non-current assets are 900,000 cedis, with current assets and total liabilities to be 700,000 cedis and 1.1 million cedis, respectively. You are required to estimate the value of the company using the Berliner method of valuation. Ezekiel Limited expects 25% on all investment. The finance director estimates that an average of 60,000 cedis is expected as profit on the business operation. The total non-current assets are 900,000 cedis, with current assets and total liabilities are 700,000 cedis and 1.1 million cedis. You are required to estimate the value of the company using the Berliner method of valuation.
$340,000.
No. You have been billed out bonus to Synergy.
370,000.
Yes, 370,000 cedis is the correct answer. Synergy, your major question. Two investors each place capital in separate companies and track their profit growth over time. So investor A invested in company A. So investor X invested in company A, whose profit grew by 250,000 cedis to 600,000 cedis in 6 years. Investor Y invested in company B, which saw profit grow from 400,000 cedis to 850,000 cedis in 5 years. You are required to calculate the compound annual growth rate for both investments and determine the company that had a higher annual growth rate. Two investors each place capital in separate companies and track their profit growth. Investor X invested in company A, whose profit grew from 250,000 cedis to 600,000 cedis in 6 years. Investor Y invested in company B, whose profit grew from 400,000 cedis to 850,000 cedis in 5 years. You are supposed to compute the compound annual growth rate for both investments and determine which company had a higher annual growth rate.
Okay, so the answer
To this question is
okay, so we have the
So the growth rate for V for company Y.
okay. So bonus, you've been brought a bonus to black white belt.
Company A, which is investor X, has the highest growth rate because it's
No, please. Your major question. Investor A invested in a company whose profit grew from 100,000 cedis to 250,000 cedis over 7 years, whilst investor B invested in a company whose profit grew from 200,000 cedis to 400,000 cedis in 5 years. You are to compute the compound annual growth rate for both investments and determine which had a higher growth rate. Investor A invested in a company whose profit grew from 100,000 cedis to 250,000 cedis in 7 years, whilst investor B invested in another company whose profit grew from 200,000 cedis to 400,000. You are to, in 5 years, you have to compute the compound annual growth rate for both investments and determine which had a higher growth rate.
Investor B, which grew from 200,000 to the 400,000, has a higher growth rate because the first one has a growth rate of 12% and the second one has a growth rate of 15%.
Yes, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Synergy, your major. Okay, this time around, I'm starting with white belt. White belt, your major question. A business in Ghana initially reports a taxable income of 400,000 cedis before considering bad debt deductions. The company writes off 60,000 cedis in bad debt, but only 40,000 cedis qualifies for tax deduction under the Ghana Revenue Authority regulations. The corporate tax rate is 25%. Compute the adjusted taxable income after accounting for the disallowed bad debt and determine the total tax payable after the adjustment. A business in Ghana initially reports a taxable income of 400,000 cedis before considering bad debt deduction. The company writes off 60,000 cedis in bad debt, but only 40,000 cedis qualifies for tax deductions under the Ghana Revenue Authority regulations. The company's tax rate is 25%. You are to compute the adjusted taxable income after accounting for disallowed bad debt and determine the total tax payable after the adjustment.
The adjusted taxable income will be 380,000 and the total tax payable will be 95,000.
No, please.
Okay. The taxable income will be 60,000 and the tax to be paid will be 15,000.
No, bonus to synergy.
The adjusted taxable income will be 390,000 and the tax will be 58500.
No, your major question. Synergy. A company in Ghana reports a taxable income of 600,000 cedis before considering bad debts. It writes off 80,000 cedis in bad debts, but only 50,000 cedis qualifies for tax deduction under the Ghana Revenue Authority regulations. The corporate tax is remains at 25%. Compute the adjusted taxable income after accounting for the disallowed bad debt and determine the total tax payable after the adjustment. A company in Ghana reports a taxable income of 600,000 cedis before considering bad debts. It writes off 80,000 cedis in bad debts, but only 50,000 cedis qualifies for tax deduction under the GRA regulation. The corporate tax remains at 25%. Compute the adjusted taxable income after accounting for the disallowed bad debt and determine the total taxable profit, tax payable after the adjustment.
So the adjusted net income is 137,500 and then the tax is 20625.
No, please.
Okay, so we have the adjusted income to be 12,500 and then the net income to be.
But where are you getting your figures from? Okay,
say
bonus to white belt.
So the adjusted taxable income is 630,000 and the tax payable is 157,500.
That is correct. That is correct. I've given you a figure of 600,000. You are mentioning 12,000 for me. Okay, so that's correct. White belt. Your major question, white belt. A bank provides the following exchange rate: $1 is equal to 14 cedis 50 pesos. One pound is equal to $1.3. Calculate the Ghana cedis to the British pound cross exchange rate. A bank provides the following exchange rate: $1 is equal to 14 cedis 50 pesos. £1 is equal to $1.3. Calculate the Ghana cedi to the British pound cross exchange rate.
We have 76.9.
No, not at all.
The answer is 18.85.
No, please. Synergy, your bonus to you.
11.15.
11.15 is correct. Synergy, your major question. €1 is equal to 16 cedis, and €1 is equal to $1.10. You are to compute the Ghana cedi US dollar cross exchange rate. €1 is equal to 16 cedis, and €1 is equal to $1.10. You are to compute the Ghana cedi dollars cross exchange rate.
14.55.
That is correct. The last set of questions for the round. This is a common preamble. Please listen to me carefully. A common preamble to all of you. Makobi Enterprise has provided you with the following information for the production of kafa for the month. So standard costs, we have direct material to be 6 cedis, direct labor 5 cedis, variable material overhead 4 cedis, fixed manufacturing overhead 6 cedis, selling price 30 cedis, budgeted sales volume 11,000, actual sales volume 10,200. Makobi Limited has provided you with the following information for the production of kafa: direct material 6 cedis, direct labor 5 cedis, variable manufacturing overhead 4 cedis, fixed manufacturing overhead 6 cedis, selling price 30 cedis, budgeted sales volume 11,000, actual sales volume 10,200. Now your major question, Synergy, right? Is it your question? Synergy. Whose question? White belts, your question. You are to compute the standard contribution margin and sales margin volume variance using the variable costing technique. Compute the standard contribution margin and sales margin volume variance using the variable costing technique.
So the standard contribution margin is 19, and the sales margin variance is.
Unfortunately, you've been bailed out. Bonus to Synergy.
So the contribution margin is 15, and the variance is 12,000.
12,000.
The variance is 12,000. 12,000 favorable.
It's because it's a bonus, I can't give it to you. It is actually your major question. You are to compute the standard profit, calculate the standard profit and the sales margin volume variance using the absorption costing technique. Compute the standard profit and the sales margin volume variance using the absorption technique.
You have the variance is 16,800, and then the profit is we have the profit to be So you have the profit to be.
The profit is never coming. Actually, the variance is actually wrong. So bonus to white belt.
The profit is 9 cedis, and
The profit is 7,200, and the standard contribution variance using the standard contribution margin.
My brother, what were you saying?
I was saying that the profit is 9 cedis and the variance is 7,200 favorable.
So why do you? Okay, you are actually correct. You see, you are correct, but I will not give it to you. You did the same problem with this guy. It is 7,200 unfavorable. Yours too, you had everything correct. The only thing you said that made it wrong is the favorable aspect. Yours too, the answer was actually correct. 6 CDs, 15 CDs, and 12,000 CDs. 12,000, but it is unfavorable. But because it's bonus, I can't give it to you. Okay, so that is the end of the round. Ladies and gentlemen, you are still watching us live on Radio UDB 98.3. This is the competition between Synergy and White Belt. One team has won twice, the other team has lost all their contests. Today, they are hoping to redeem their image. We've done 2 rounds, 4 more rounds to go. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round 2, the scores are as follows. So at the end of round 2, Synergy had 5 points and White Belt had 9 points. At the end of round 2, Synergy had 5 points, White Belt had 9 points. There's 4 more rounds to go, 4 more to do more. Let's move on straight to round 3. Round 3, ladies and gentlemen, they are giving a case and they are supposed to give us an answer as a team. Please open your questions and let's read them together. Okay, so let's read them. Okay, so you are still watching us live on Radio UDB 98.3 FM. And this is the Uewabs Business Challenge League between Synergy and White Belt. We read the questions together. Novatech Solutions, a mid-size IT company, has recently experienced a series of cybersecurity breaches affecting its internal system and customer data. The company relies on cloud storage, email communication, and multiple software applications to run its daily operations. However, over the last 3 months, Novatech has suffered from multiple cybersecurity incidents. 1. An employee accidentally clicked a malicious link in an email, leading to an unauthorized access to company file. 2. Hackers exploited outdated software, injecting harmful code into Novatech's website. 3. Sensitive customer data was stolen due to weak password and poor authentication methods. 4. A mysterious program encrypted all company's files, demanding payment for decryption. 5. An attacker redirected Novatech's website visitors to fake login page to steal credentials. 6. Cyber criminals intercepted online communications between Novatech and its clients, manipulating transaction details. 7. Employees unknowingly downloaded harmful software that secretly monitored their activities and captured keystrokes. 8. False information was spread on social media, damaging Novatech's reputation and customer trust. 9. A disgruntled former employee deleted critical company data before leaving, causing operational disruptions. 10. Hackers flooded Novatech's server with excessive traffic, making its website and applications inaccessible. Now, based on the case, identify and explain 10 types of cybersecurity threats that Novatech has encountered. Discuss how they work, their impact, and how to prevent them in the corporate environment. 10 minutes, start work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is still the Uewabs Business League, proudly brought to you by Radio Windy Bay 98.3, streaming live on Radio Windy Bay 98.3's platform, Facebook platform. The program is also brought to you by the School of Business with technical support from all the departments. This is the Uewabs Business Challenge between 5 key teams. We are reminded that our students are preparing very well for next year. What is supposed to be an interdepartmental competition between level 100. So all the departments will have a rep, one from level 100, one from level 200, one from level 300, and the other from level 400. And they will do an interdepartmental competition. 5 departments will have a league. The first 3 will go to the grand finale. So I will invite Nanama to come and give us your messages.
Now let's read some comments on Facebook. We have Nanayao saying white belt with love emoji and a fire emoji. Richmond Obin says, Albert, more fire. Manuel Mensa says, Hala Obed, heat. Technical challenges, but then we are back with the messages from Facebook. Nanayao says white belt with a love emoji and a fire emoji. Richmond Obin says Albert, more fire. Manuel Mensa says Hala Obed, heat. Affable Miltonberg says shadow will sweat today. Affable again says sweating in AC pan. Thomas Tihepte says, living legend, Dr. Gajo, I see you. Thomas again says, I can't see Aaron. Alhassan Extra Traule says, Sir, we beg. Hey. Mensa Wisdom says, both Albert and Obed, more fire with fire emojis. Nanayao says, Synergy, do something. Nanayao again says, the questions are hard though. Hey. Alhassan Extra Traule says, Tilly is good. I will see you on the hot seat. Nanayo says synergy. Answer some of the questions. Nanayo again says Thomas Tiepe Aaron is here. Hannibal Hem says Tilly, the TBSC Santoa. Tilly, stop bullying the boys. Thomas says the lady is doing marvelously well. Manuel Mensa says, hey, say. Nanayao again says synergy and not synergying. Aaron Kojofiati says, I'm supporting both teams with 100 bags of cement. Nanayao says synergy are back in the game with the fire emoji. And that will be all for the comments on Facebook. Over to you, sir.
Very much. We appreciate all the comments that have just come in from our wonderful viewers. The questions are normal. The hot seat master himself will take over the hot seat at the national stage, and I believe these are going to be primary questions. He's going to give us tertiary level questions. Anyway, so thank you all for watching us. Keep your comments coming in. You are reminded that the program is supported by all the departments. Now let's go to the School of Business and the department. The School of Business is made up of 5 departments, namely Department of Accounting, that has undergraduate programs in Bachelor of Science, Accounting Education, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting option. And we have the postgraduate programs. We have the weekend Master of Business Administration program, which is MBA Accounting, and we also have the regular postgraduate program, MPhil Accounting. We also have the Department of Management Sciences that has Bachelor of Science in Accounting Management Education as undergraduate. They also have the BBA Human Resource Management. They also have the BSc Business Information Systems. And for the postgraduate, you have the MPhil, MBA, MSc, Management Information System, MBA Human Resource Management. We have the regular MPhil in Human Resource Management. We move on to the Department of Applied Finance and Policy Management that has 3 undergraduate programs. We have the Diploma in Finance, the BSc Risks and Insurance Management. We have the BBA Banking and Finance. And for the postgraduate, we have the weekend MBA of Finance. We have the MSc Development Finance also on the weekend level. And the regular level, we have the MPhil Development Finance and MPhil in Finance. We move on to the Department of Marketing and Entrepreneurship. We have the BBA Marketing Program. We have the MBA Marketing. We have the MPhil Marketing Program. The Department of Procurement and Supply Chain Management, where we have the BBA Procurement and Supply Chain Management, MBA Procurement and Supply Chain Management, and we have the MPhil Procurement and Supply Chain Management. By next year, the school will be rolling out its Doctor of Business Administration program and the Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration as well. You are all encouraged to advise one to pick the forms and come in here. We have dynamic lecturers who will try and make the theoretical aspect very practical for you in the School of Business. In the School of Business. Also, you're also reminded that if you want to support this program, this is the league contest. So we have 5 teams competing among themselves. Hopefully, we've done 7 of the contests. This is the 8th one. We move on to the 9th one today. Afterwards, we do the last contest, God willing, tomorrow to determine the last 3 who will be moving on to the finals. So this is the Uewabs Business League, proudly brought to you by Radio Indibe 98.3 FM. Contestants, you have 20 seconds more. You should be wrapping up with your solutions. We've done 2 rounds, almost done with the 3rd round. We'll be moving on straight to, after the 3rd round, we'll be moving on straight to the fourth round. Contestants, your time is up. Kindly submit your solutions to me. So, Synergy. And so this Synergy, and this is. Ladies and gentlemen, they were given a solution and they were supposed to provide me an answer. So they were giving certain statements and they were supposed to tell me what they were. So let's go to the solution. The first statement, where the employee clicked on a malicious link, is a phishing attack. That is where criminals try to trick users into revealing sensitive information. It could be prevented by employee training, email filtering, and multi-factor authentication. The second one, the second statement, which has to do with a hacker exploited outdated software, injecting harmful code into there. It is the SQL injection, and the hackers exploit outdated. So here is a technique used to manipulate database and gain unauthorized access. The prevention is a regular software update, input validation, web application firewalls. The third statement, that has to do with sensitive customer data was stolen due to weak password and poor authentication method. It is credential theft. Credential theft. So it could be prevented by strong password policy, the regular security audits. The fourth one, that has to do with a mysterious program encrypted all company's file. It is a ransom attack. So encryption of the company file and demand for payment is a classic example of what? A ransom attack, where malicious where malware locks files until ransom is paid. So the prevention is frequent data backup, endpoint protection, and employee awareness training. The fifth one, that is redirecting website visitors to a fake login, is a spoofing attack. Spoofing attack, and prevention is secure website certificate, URL monitoring, and two-factor authentication. The fourth one, which is criminals intercepting online communication to manipulate transaction, is known as the man-in-the-middle attack, and the prevention is encryption, VPNs, secured network protocols. The fourth one, which is employees downloading harmful software, is a keylogger attack. Keylogger attack. That is where malware records everything typed to steal sensitive data. Prevention is anti-malware tools, endpoint monitoring, control software installation. The eighth one, spreading false information on online, is social engineering or misinformation, and it could be prevented from social media monitoring, incident response planning, and media verification. The fourth one, a former employee deleting critical information, is insider threat. Insider threat, and could be prevented from access control, data tracking, revoking permission of post-employment. Then the last one, hackers flooding servers with traffic to make servers inaccessible, is the distributed denial of service attack. Distributed denial of service attack. The prevention measures is the distributed denial of service attack mitigation tools, scalable infrastructure, and traffic filtering. Let's look at what our contestants gave us. So I start with white belt. So white belts, for the first one, they mentioned phishing, which was correct. So 1. The second one, they didn't get it correct. The third one, leakage, sensitive information. So I'll give them 0.5. The explanation was okay. The fourth one, ransom, and they explain identity theft. That was what they said for the fifth one, is spoofing attack. Sixth, they said is man in the middle. They said eavesdropping. The seventh, they had the keylogger. The reputational and financial risk. For the eighth, it is not correct. Then for the ninth one, they said loss of retention data is also not correct. 10th one is also not correct. So for their effort, they get 3.5. So white belt gets 3.5. Let's go to Synergy. Synergy had the fishing. Second one, they wrote nothing. Third one, they said password insecurity, which is not there. Password insecurity, okay. I'll give you 0.5 for that one. Poor encryption, which is the fourth one. No, it is a ransom. Then you have page jargon. For the fifth one, no, it is not correct. So that is... Oh, that's all. Okay, so that's all for them. For their effort, they get 1.5. So ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round 3, Synergy had 1.5 and white belt had 3.5. So we have 3 more rounds to go. 3 more to do more. Are you ready? Are you effecting any substitutions? Synergy is effecting a Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the business news segment where they ask questions on the business news on Radio Winnipeg throughout the week. We have been joined by a stranger. Can you introduce yourself to us?
In education level 300.
Are you in level 300 or 200?
300.
Okay. So Cecilia Ado joining us from level 300. You are welcome, Cecilia. Are you coming to redeem Synergy? Hopefully, yes. Hopefully she will redeem them. We move on to the business news segment. They are giving 6 questions each. You have 10 seconds to provide me an answer. Is it 10 or 5 seconds? 10 seconds to provide me an answer. If you get it correct, it's 3 marks. If you get it wrong, it goes to the other team for a bonus. You have only 2 attempts, right? If it is a common preamble and I so decide, I'll give you 1 attempt. So this time around, I'm starting with white belt. White belt, your major question. With digital transformation sweeping across industries, Ghanaian industry sector have experienced several benefits from integration of artificial intelligence. You are to mention 3 of these benefits experienced by the insurance industry. Mention 3 benefits experienced by the insurance industry through the artificial intelligence.
So 1, it has enhanced coverage or improved coverage. 2, it has helped in financial inclusive, so to cover the ecosystem. Then 3, and improved transactions, so it has helped in stimulus transactions.
That is correct. Synergy, you are to mention 3 benefits enjoyed by insurers in the Ghanaian industry from integration of AI into insurance industry. You are to mention 3 benefits enjoyed by the insurers in the Ghanaian industry from the integration of AI into the insurance industry.
So they can access their policy at any time and at anywhere. And also the information given is accessible, easily to understand. And the third one, we can also talk about the chatbots, which interact with customers and give them which interact with customers and to solve their problems.
So like gives them quick response. So I'll give it to you. So common preamble. The Ghanaian League has suffered a severe blow in recent years with interest plummeting due to various factors. Now, your question, white belt, you are to state any 3 each. No, each of you are to state 3 each of the factors according to the newspaper. The factors that has led to the Ghanaian League suffering from what? Severe blow in recent years. What has led to that?
Adequate infrastructure.
Come again.
Inadequate infrastructure.
Okay.
Inadequate infrastructure and unconducive weather condition, and also unsafe
seating. That is correct. Synergy.
We have poor performance. We have poor performance by players, and we have we also have competition of top talent as a result of departing to foreign leagues. We can also talk about security issues that arise as a result of stabbing of Kotoko Fund.
I'll give you 2. That one is poor stadium infrastructure. Let's give it to them. So I'll give you all the 3. Poor stadium. I'll give you all the 3. Now this is also a common preamble again. You are to mention 3 each of the life products offered by Prudential Life Insurance. 3 each of the life products offered by Prudential Life Insurance.
So we have the Prudential Ultimate Education Plus, the PruWealth, and the Mekakrawa Micro Plan.
That is correct. The Synergy.
So we have the ultimate education. We have ultimate education, funeral plan.
She mentioned ultimate education. So continue.
We
Funeral
have
plan, yes.
We have funeral plan, and we have Prudential Life. We also have a Pro Body by giving to alumnus.
I'll give it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy for our contestants, so we are also reminded that they've been doing this continuously from last week, so we can expect the brain to be tired at times. So that's why some of them are being considerate. Now, your major, I'll now start from you, okay? Synergy. There is also a common preamble. Proof of concept, okay? POC. From global markets provided valuable insight into how Ghana's insurance industry can be transformed. You are to mention and explain 2 each of the transformational strategies to prioritize. Mention and explain 2 each of the transformational strategies to prioritize.
So we have technology transformation and digital data usage. That's where the insurance company use technology. They use technology in their dealings with customers. In the case of data analysis and risk management. And we also have we can also talk about.
It's not coming there. Network Natico.
We can also talk about education. We can also talk about public awareness of financial literacy through educational campaigns.
That is correct. White belt.
So we have strengthening regulation and policy harmonization. Then we have incentivizing innovation and product diversity.
That is correct. Again, your common preamble. And a Sunu combo basket for each of the following categories. You are building, content, and accident. You are supposed to provide me certain answers, okay? So Synergy, yours is what is the maximum amount of in Ghana cities for building, content, and personal accident? What is the maximum amount in Ghana cities for building, content, and personal accident?
Building is 100,000. Content is 10,000, and then the personal accident is 5,000.
That is correct. Now, white belt, what is the combo premium for building content and personal accidents. Combo premium for building content and personal accidents.
The building is 150. The content is 35 cedis and the personal accidents is 25.
But is it intentional? When the guy answers here, another guy will answer there. When the lady answers, another. The last set of question for the round. Now, synergy. Despite the advantages of adopting AI into the insurance industry, it comes with some disadvantages, right? You have to mention 3 of the disadvantages of using AI in the insurance industry.
So we can talk about a cyber threat and customer privacy, which are sometimes being interrupted. Then we can also talk about inadequate digitalization of data to provide to the machines. And lastly, we can talk about so lastly, we can talk about a threat to job displacement.
That is correct. Okay. I hear the speed of your processor should be increased. Now, white belt. Prudential Life Insurance Ghana is a global leader in life and health insurance and asset management across Asia and Africa, and listed on several stock exchanges. You have to mention the various stock exchanges, 3 of the stock exchanges that it has been listed on. 3 stock exchanges that Prudential Life has been listed on.
So we have London, New York, and Hong Kong.
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of round 4. This brings us to the end of round 4. It has been interesting. It has been cagey, and it has been back-to-back roller coaster contest. Now, at the end of round 4, the scores are as follows. At the end of round 4, the scores are. Synergy had 18 points, and the white belt also had 18 points. They deserve some applause again. Now we move on to the round 5. Round 5 is true or false. True or false. If you get it correct, it's 2. If you get it wrong, it is -1. If you decide, you can decide not to answer, on which case you will not be penalized for any mark. So it will go to the other team for under the same rules. Are you ready? Are you ready? They are ready. My questions are also ready. I'll start this time around from Synergy. Synergy, listen carefully. Price scheming and psychological pricing are both rely on consumer perception, meaning they function identically in setting high initial prices before gradually lowering them. Price scheming and psychological pricing both rely on consumer perception, meaning they function identically in setting high initial prices before gradually lowering them.
It's false.
It is indeed false. White belt. Price scheming can integrate psychological pricing tactics like prestige pricing, where high initial prices can create a perception of superior quality and exclusivity. Price scheming can integrate psychological pricing tactics like prestige pricing, where high initial prices create a perception of superior quality and exclusivity.
The answer is true.
That is correct. Synergy. Purchasing power parity assumes that exchange rate will always adjust to equalize the price of goods across different countries, making inflation irrelevant to currency valuation. Purchasing power parity assumes that exchange rates will always adjust to equalize the price of goods across different countries, making inflation irrelevant to currency valuation.
False.
Yes, it's false. White belt. Under the theory of purchasing power parity, the currency of the country with constantly high inflation will tend to depreciate against currencies of countries with low inflations over time. Under the theory of purchasing power parity, the currency of a country with constantly high inflation will tend to depreciate against countries with lower inflation rate over time.
The answer is false.
No, it's true. Synergy. Job analysis focuses exclusively on task and responsibility of the role, whilst job specification strictly defines the skills required, meaning there is no overlap between the two. Job analysis focuses exclusively on the tasks and responsibilities of the role, whilst job specification strictly defines the skills required, meaning there is no overlap between the two.
Say it's false.
Yes, it's false.
There is overlap.
White belt. A job specification can change without modifying the job analysis, as employers may update qualification requirements without altering the core tasks of the role. A job specification can change without modifying the job analysis, as employers may update qualification requirements without altering the core tasks of the role.
True.
Yes, it's true. Synergy. Barcode scanning and radio frequency identification technology can improve accuracy in perpetual inventory system by automating stock updates and reducing manual entry errors. Barcode scanning and radio frequency identification technology can improve accuracy in perpetual inventory system by automating stock updates and reducing manual entry errors.
True.
Yes, it's true. White belt. A perpetual inventory system is ideal for small businesses with low transaction volumes because it simplifies inventory management. A perpetual inventory system is ideal for small businesses with low transaction volumes because it simplifies inventory management.
True.
It's false. Okay, I'm starting from you. White belt. A citizen budget is exclusively designed to provide financial allocation for social welfare programs, and it does not cover infrastructure or security spending. A citizen budget is exclusively designed to provide financial allocation to social welfare programs, and it does not cover infrastructure or security spending.
False.
That is false. Synergy. Citizen budget ensures that every individual has direct control over government spending decisions, allowing them to personally allocate funds to different programs. Citizen budget ensures that every individual has direct control over government spending decisions, allowing them to personally allocate funds to different programs.
It's true.
No, it's false. It's false. Now, white belts, and the last set of questions for the round. A contract can be enforced even if it is missing an essential term, as courts can imply missing elements based on industry standards or common practices. A contract can be enforced even if it is missing an essential term, as courts can imply missing elements based on industry standards and common practices.
It's false.
Oh, this is true. I think earlier on I gave you the implied terms, and I said by the curtain. So synergy, a contract made under duress is still legally enforceable as long as both parties signed willingly, even if one party was pressured into the agreement. A contract made under duress is still legally enforceable as long as both parties signed willingly, even if one party was pressured into the agreement.
It's false.
Yes, it's false. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of round 5. It has been an interesting contest between the two teams. Very interesting contest. The studio is hot. Let me go to my contestants. Going into the final round, Synergy. How do you see your chances?
We are hoping to get some points here to accumulate our points to.
You are hoping to get your 3 points. Okay, white belt. How do you see the contest? Are you winning or you are losing?
There is still hope.
There is still hope. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the scores for round 5. At the end of round 5, the scores for the two teams are as follows. At the end of round 5, Synergy had 9 points and White Belt had 3 points. Synergy had 9 points, White Belt had 3 points. Now, final round. This is the riddles. If you get it on the first clue, it is 5 points. On the second clue, it is 4 points. On the third, fourth, and fifth clue, it is 3 points. Now, White Belt, you indicate your readiness. Let me listen to your sound. And Synergy, let me listen to your sound. Again, White Belt, and Synergy. Relax, so this is not a do or die affair. Okay, radio number 1. Historically, I have been observed in major economic downturns such as the Great Depression, financial recession, where businesses face inventory surpluses due to weakened purchasing power and market uncertainties. 2, I represent both a challenge and an opportunity. While excess stock may strain financial stability, I also allow firms to reevaluate demand forecast, and optimize supply chain for future economic recovery. 3, I trigger corrective actions where companies use discounting, liquidating sales, or production slowdown to stabilize stock levels and minimize financial losses. 4, I play a crucial role in market adjustments, helping firms realign with customer trends whilst preventing wastage resources and inefficiencies in distribution. 5, I occur in economic cycles when business experience excess inventory due to overproduction, sudden drops in demand, or supply chain inefficiencies. In other words, I'm used in economics to describe an economy's bounce back to normal GDP level after a recession. Who am I? Yes, Synergy?
We have a trend.
No. White Belt?
Purchasing power parity.
It is the inventory bounce. Inventory bounce. It is the inventory bounce. Radio number 2. I originated from fundamental economic and financial principles developed to evaluate investment opportunities, with my formal application gaining prominence in corporate finance in the mid-20th century. I allow investors and businesses to make informed financial choices by quantifying the relationship between cost, return, ensuring resources are allocated towards the most profitable venture. 3, I act as a key decision making for companies, particularly in capital budgeting, where investment with a higher value greater than 1 considered beneficial. Who? Synergy, yes. Synergy.
You have a modern portfolio theory.
No. White belt.
Profitability index.
Indeed, it is the profitability index. It is the profitability index. White belt had it on the third clue, and that is 3 points. Riddle number 3. Historically, I date back to medieval England, where landlords repossessed land from tenants who failed to pay their rent. I was first used in a legal sense in the 16th century as property law developed to formalize the process. 2. I play a significant role in real estate and economic cycles, particularly during financial crisis or housing market downturns, when large-scale defaults can strain financial institutions and markets. 3. I can result in serious financial and personal consequences for homeowners, including loss of residence, credit damage, and legal complications. 4. I involve the forced sale of property, often through auction or repossession, as a means for the lender to mitigate financial losses. 5. I happen when the borrowers fail to meet mortgage payment obligations, leading to a lender taking legal actions to recover the outstanding debt. Who am I? Yes, white belt. You rank first. Okay, Synergy.
You are the rent seeking.
You are not the rent seeking. White belt.
Yeah, the civil wrong.
Civil wrong. Anybody from the audience, anybody from the watching us, and Anama will come and read the comments. So should I leave it as it is? Yes. I should leave it as it is. Okay, the answer is foreclosure. 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 Riddle number 4. Riddle number 4. I have been a major concern in auditing standards, prompting establishment of regulatory guidelines such as those from International Ethics Standard Board for Auditing, IESBA, to safeguard independence in financial reviews. I require proactive measures, including external review procedures, segregation of duty, strict adherence to ethical codes, ensuring the auditor maintain impartiality and avoid undue influence from previous engagements. 3. I threaten the integrity of the audit process because a professional may be reluctant to critically evaluate their own past work, potentially overlooking errors and inconsistencies. 4. I occur in scenarios where an audit firm has provided non-audit services such as financial reporting or internal control assistance, leading to potential conflict of interest. Yes, white belt.
Self-review threat.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, self-review threat is the correct answer. And they had it on the 4th clue, and that is 3 points. Now, last riddle. Riddle number 5. Historically, I gained prominence during the rapid industrial expansion of the early 20th century when businesses needed a structured method to train large workforce efficiently without slowing production lines. 2. My name originates from architectural term referring to an entryway or a transitional space, symbolizing the preparatory phase that workers undergo before fully integrating into their jobs. 3. I balance theoretical instruction with real-world applications, ensuring employees master necessary skills in a controlled environment before handling critical tasks in their actual work setting. 4. I help new workers develop hands-on experiences before transitioning to their full roles, reducing error and improving overall efficiency in industries like manufacturing, healthcare, and technology. 5. I involve training employees in a separate, stimulated workplace that closely mirrors real job conditions, allowing them to gain practical skills without disrupting actual operations. Who am I? Yes, White Bell. Or you rank first. Synergy. Okay, Synergy.
So we have a simulated training.
Oh no. White Belt.
On the job training.
No, it is the vestibule training. Vestibule training. On that vestibule training notes, we come to the end of the contest. They deserve some applause. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the 8th contest of the 10th series competition between 5 strong teams. The first 3 will win the competition. I will go to the finals to amass the trophy. You are reminded that, in fact, White Belt is the defending champions because they won it last year, where their current coach, Matilda, with their current coach, won the competition for their first time. So White Belt is the defending champions. If they win today's contest, they make it to the final. Let's see whether they are making it back to back or it will not be back to back. Nanama, the comments.
Emily Wished says, I'm supporting both teams with 5 cartons of mosquito coil. She again says, I'm watching live from the United States. Aaron Kojofiati says, Okampe Jagen. Hannibal Hem says, Synergy is gaining the energy. Say heat, shadow, neck, mopo. Don Chef says, more fire to both teams. Affable Miltonberg says, heat with fire emojis. Nilai says, perfect round. Obed say Dansu says, Synergy, more vim. Hannibal Hem says, spiritual Guardiola. Thus your questions will get Mr. Charule to triple up their true and false questions. True and false section. A. Affable Mittenberg says training. He again says induction. Aaron Kojofiati says why a bird too? Why am I too old? Thank you. And that would be that for the comments on Facebook.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, we come to the end of the contest. But before I declare the scores, I go to my contestants. Synergy, do you think you can win the contest?
So actually, it has ended, and then we are having a bad season. We are having a bad season, but next season we will come back stronger.
Yes,
we'll build upon our form and come back stronger.
Yeah. So whether you win today's contest or not, you still have one more contest to go you can still make a way to the finals. So don't lose hope yet. For me, what I think you've done and I like is a gradual improvement in the marks from your first contest, which is very good. Being here alone, I tell you, this competition is like the Olympics. Representing alone means that you've won. So don't be down. Today's contest, you gave in your best, and I believe that you've seen the rough edges. You go and work on it and come back stronger. That is if you lose. If you win, still the marks will not be that encouraging. You need to go and work and come back stronger. Let me go to white belt. White belt, how did you see the contest?
The contest was up to standard, but we didn't actually perform well. We are hoping to do better next time.
So they did not actually perform to their expectations. They want to do better. I hope today you gave in your best. Or we can't know everything. You can make one or two mistakes, but the most important thing is you always learn from your mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, the scores for round 5 and the final scores. At the end of round 5, Synergy had 0 and White Belt had 6 points. So the final scores, ladies and gentlemen, Synergy had 40.5 points and White Belt had 50.5 points. In fact, our in-house audience betted over 40. And indeed, they've all won for the 2 contests. All of them betted over 40 and getting 40.5. It means that Synergy, you've given cash to some of your audience here. And White Belt, you've also given cash to some of your audience. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Samuel Gamelegaju of the School of Business, your quiz master. I would like to thank the management of the university, the management of Radio Windibe 98.3, Mr. Colin Sawuku, the production crew led by Mr. Osman Mumin, Mr. Bismarck Ampon, Mr. Abraham Caesar, Mr. Benedict Kofitechi, Mr. Edmond Fuga, Ronaldo Jensi, Amanda Kofa, and Miss Nana Amanyako, the lady who read your comment for you. Until we meet again, don't do what we wouldn't do, and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
University of Education Winneba, under the auspices of its Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Jobson Mutual, presents UEW Public Lecture Series with the theme Empowering Minds, Shaping Futures for 21st Century Education. Main speaker, renowned Pan-Africanist Professor P.L.O. Lumumba. Other dignitaries include Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idriso, the country rep of UNESCO, Edmond Mukaila, and Dr. Samuel Krantempempem. Happening at the Jofus Adamwa Mensa Auditorium at the University of Education Winneba on Friday, 11th April 2025, 10 a.m. We humbly invite all stakeholders, including students, lecturers, researchers, policymakers, to be part of the UEW Public Lecture Series. This promises to be insightful, educative, and thought-provoking. You need to be there.
Hello everyone, greetings from the University of Education, Winneba. Our annual public lecture for the year is slated for 11th April 2025. The theme for this year's public lecture is Empowering Minds, Shaping Futures for 21st Century Education. The essence of education in the 21st century is to instill in students creativity, problem-solving skills, good communication skills, teamwork ability, and so on and so forth. For this reason, we have invited Professor P.L.O. Lumumba to speak on the topic. We therefore invite all our stakeholders, including our students, our lecturers, researchers, policymakers, to join us to make this occasion a success. Thank you very much.
Iconic initiate. Shine your eyes. Come on, let's unite. From the north to the south and central, we are decide to pay that price. Yes, we aim, providing higher education, no. Just one name, which belongs to me, that belongs to you. So let's join our hands and say to the world, what be the name? You in a bill. What be the name, boy? You in a bill. What be the name? You in a bill. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We hear you. You should be proud. Raise your voice, be allowed. Oh, it's the best institution where teachers are trained. Oh, we will shape that future, making you that teacher. So if you dream big. All of the department, the faculty, Spartans, Davians,
I will give my best. You gonna give your best. We will give our best to UEW. I will give my best. You will give your best. We will give our best to UEW. Say, where and happiness. Oh yeah, I must confess.